Alright. Yes. Okay. That's right. That's right. Oh, ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Yeah, this is my pleasure. Okay. Alright, well, what's next? That's right. Record now. Shit. I don't like it when it blows up like that. It makes me fucking so angry. Alright, now who is next? Who is next? God, why am I always saying that? I know why. It's funny, but I don't fucking have the energy to explain it. Okay. Record. Alright. Perhaps. See, I gotta write all this shit down. It's easier if I just have a system. Alright. Soul. Okay. You know who I got one for here. B. Right? Yeah, you ain't gonna wait that long for Mr. Hardest Working Man in Show Business. Alright. B-R-O. There we are. First page. Fucking beautiful. Fuck yeah. Alright. If you're gonna fucking flag a guy, you got a flag. Fucking A. Alright. Oh, fuck. Alright. I hate to say this, but we might not stop. You might just have to just work our way down the list. This wasn't even the song I wanted to sing, but I couldn't help it. It was the first one on the list, and it just was irresistible. Alright. Get up, get on the scene, like a sex machine. Alright, switch to improve. Fuck yeah, we want to improve recorder. Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it, baby. Okay, now what are you gonna do? You gonna be a good boy? You gonna be a fucking good boy? Huh? Or are you gonna fucking use it? Stop. There you go. Shaka. Alright, we're good. Get on. Check, check. Don't give me that shit. You fucking stooge. Check, 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 ek. You wish. Alright. What do you do? Yes, I rip off everyone else's act. Because I'm not even a comedian. Okay, record. Okay. Now, boom. 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 There we go. Come on. Where are you at? Check, check, check. Why don't I have no music? Come on. This ain't right. Come on. Come on! Get up! Get up! Get on up! Get up! Like a sex machine! Get up! Get up! Get up! Stay on the scene like a sex machine! Get up! Get on the scene! Sex machine! Wait a minute! Shake your arm! In your phone, stay on the scene like a sex machine. You gotta have the feeling, show your bone. Get up, right on, right on. Get up, get up, get up. Oh, I can't dance and I can't sing this song, but I just like it. And it wasn't even the song I wanted to pick, but it was the first one on James Brown's page and I just couldn't resist it, so I might just be going down the entire list. I don't have any control over that. west. Get up, get up, get up, get up. You say you got, I said the feeling you got to get. Give me the fever, the cold, cold sweat. The way I like it is the way it is. I got mine, don't worry about here. Get up, stay on the scene, sex machine. Get up, get up. Shall I take you to the bridge? Take you on to the bridge. Can I take you to the bridge? Take him to the bridge. Hear me now. Come on now. Stay on the scene like a sex machine. The way I like it is the way it is. I got mine, you got his. Stay on the scene, love machine. Stay on scene like a love machine. Stay on scene. I'm gonna count it out one more time. You wanna lose out? Hear me out. Feed it up now. Get up, get up, get up, get on up. Stay on scene, sex machine. Get up. Fist it. Piapa. Fist out. Piano. I look like an idiot, but I never felt so good. Yeah, oh, get up. Get up. Stay on the scene like a sex machine. Gotta have the feeling. Sure you was born. Get you together. Right on, right on. Right on, right on. Right on, right on. Right on, right on. Get up. Get up. Get up. Belly maker. Shake your money 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 maker. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. I hit my chest with my own knees. Ha! Get up! Get up! Get up! Can we get it from here? Can we hear it like that? One more time. Let's get ready. Can we hear it like quit? Can we hear it like quit? Hit it! Don't judge. Just don't judge. Oh my God, that was exhilarating. That was exhilarating. Wow. Well, if I wanted to get rid of that sudden case of happiness that I got, boy, that sure certainly wasn't the way to do it. I tell you, I'm going to get a relapse. But at that rate, wow. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Leslie. You are watching the CALX network. I apologize, I'm a little winded. I'm 35 years old, so you can expect that from time to time. I'm coming to you right now because, well, okay, I kind of have to admit, well, there are many reasons why I should be having this broadcast right now, but could it have waited until maybe our normal broadcast time? I suppose. I don't think it was absolutely necessary or critical that we get on the air immediately. I don't think that there are going to be any serious catastrophes if we hadn't made it on the air. But that being said, I am just in the most giddiest, happiest, joyful, jubilant mood. I can't even describe it. And it all started out like this. Okay, now this is where I give you a big warning and a caveat. I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to talk about anything sexual or anything like that, but I'm going to be broaching a topic right now and using some terminology that might be objectionable and offensive to some people. Now, this is my story and it's my experience. So, I am telling this to articulate that story and experience and my own emotions. And if I offend anyone, I apologize for well, no, I don't apologize. I don't apologize for offending anyone. I feel bad that you're offended, but I'm not trying to offend you and I'm not trying to be malicious. So, now that I got that out of the way, if you do not want to hear what this discussion is going to be about just for the next couple minutes, I would highly recommend that you not listen. And if I'm just going to tell you, it involves retards, okay? Now, you know I'm not being malicious here. That's just the name I'm going to use, and I have my reasons, and I don't need to justify them. Anyways, now that I got that out of the way, I was on my way to class today, and I was there to catch my bus to get me to my other bus to get there approximately my usual time. Anyhow, the bus isn't the biggest bus in the world. It's a smaller bus, not a tiny bus. It's a normal sized bus, but it's not one of those huge buses that you know what I'm talking that you see in a big, gigantic metropolitan city or even a middle city. It's just a normal sized bus. The reason why I bring that up is because those buses don't take a whole long time before they start to get full. Okay, so this is kind of to the point where we're at. Now I take this bus for a very short period of time. From where I first catch it, I would say, well, I know for a fact it's only 3 miles, because on the way home, when I'm not as pressed for time, I just forsake that bus completely and just walk 3 miles. So it's a 3 mile trip, so it's pretty short. But I hate riding buses. They make me claustrophobic. I don't like being cooped up too much. I need to be able to breathe and to move, and that's just the kind of person I am. I can hang just fine in a crowded city, or places like that don't bother me at all. It's just when I feel caged in and I don't have any opportunity to free myself from that feeling is when I kind of start to feel unpleasant. And any of you who ride buses probably have well experienced that sort of thing before, or at least even if you haven't experienced it, I'm sure you can relate and appreciate as to what I'm talking about. So we're getting to the point there where it's not to where people are sitting, you know, two to a seat right next to each other or anything like that, but it's getting close to where, you know, you might have to share a seat with someone relatively soon. And being a frequent bus passenger that I am, I kind of feel as if I am aware of like certain bus riding etiquettes. You know, as one of them is if it appears that there may be some seat shortage, I will always sit on the far inside of wherever seat that I'm sitting in, so that in case all of a sudden it fills up and someone needs a seat, there will be one right there next to me. You know, it's not saying, hey, please come sit next to me, but in the event that all of a sudden, you know, I'm not the asshole, you know, sitting on the end looking like he's trying to crowd everybody out. So, anyways, we're getting to that point, and then all of a sudden, these dumb frickin' morons, caregivers, I assume is what they were, I think they violated a law today. I'm positive they had to have violated some sort of law or public safety regulation, and I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm saying that for real. I've actually studied law, and I tend to suspect that if an individual is has certain needs, that two people who are supposedly licensed to care for them and their interests and well-being, I think there are probably state regulations that stipulate you are only allowed to have X amount of these sorts of people in your charge at one time because, well, like when you're watching kids, a daycare, they're only allowed to have X amount of kids in a licensed daycare. You get the drift. Because any one person only has a limited attention span and can only devote that to a certain amount of finite resources. Okay, duh. You all get that. Okay, these two caregivers get on the bus all of a sudden with about 10 of these folks. Now, these were not like the average kids, or they weren't kids, they were young adults, but they weren't the average people you would see that you would classify as retarded. They were, because what I consider, and I'm not an expert, so I could be saying this wrong, but my presumption of mental retardation generally is that what you see, basically when you see like the Special Olympics and just in general, you see, you know, they function reasonably well. You know, obviously they have some challenges, but they do pretty okay, you know, in meeting those. These were not those types. These were the kind that had, I had never even seen it. It was, I'm not saying this to be a jerk. They were horrific looking. That's okay too. But all of them, all 10 of them, were making these, I'm not even going to imitate them. They were these eerie, scary sounding, shrieky, cross between a shriek and a cry, continuously. All of them. Every single one, as a single file filled up the remainder of the bus, to where all of a sudden now I have like a big group of these folks kind of encroaching upon my space, to where I'm feeling like trapped as if I have no way out. And then they're all making just these hauntingly eerie noises that sound like a cross between someone that's just in deep emotional pain and suffering and someone who's being tortured physically to death. It was nothing I ever want to see or hear ever again. So I feel like I'm about to have like a serious psychotic episode from just being probably in more fear, seriously, than I've ever experienced in my entire life, bar none. I'm dead serious. I've never been more terrified. Never. Not even having a nightmare. Or getting stabbed. Or getting hit by a car. Or, well, I've had a few bumps and bruises. I've never, ever in my life been anywhere near that terrified ever. Okay, maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe I'm just an idiot because I'm scared of nothing. I don't care. I didn't want to be scared of it. The point is that the people taking care of those folks are putting those folks in a really not a very fair position to put them in a situation where they have to be just crowded in like that, because I don't know, I would assume they're probably not too thrilled about that either. And then you have people who are just sitting on an unpleasant bus already, and then you're just going to bombard them with that. And then the poor bus driver, he's having to like try and help the two caregivers that are supposed to be taking care of these collective group of about 10, and then he's trying to help those two incompetents take care of their charge, and then also the one person who is actually wheelchair bound, he is responsible for getting that person into the, you know what that is, where they sit on the bus. Okay, so all that's going on, and I'm just like freaking out. I feel like I'm going to have like a panic attack. And all of a sudden, I just made a break for the door. I ran out of there as if the bus was on fire, and I told the driver I'm getting out here, and I ran to the rest of the way, to the stop. I didn't care. Anyways, that was how the day started. So, kind of odd that I would be in such a good and happy mood after a story like that, because trust me, when that happened, I did not enjoy that whatsoever, and it was just the most horrible feeling I've ever had. It just really disturbed. It was very disturbing. And so, as a result, okay, so I get to where I'm catching my next bus, and I start to just try and, okay, where you're getting your next bus, let's just make sure, see which one's coming and when, and we're all good on times, you know, all that. So yeah, everything's great, dandy, hunky-dory. Well then, I'm starting to just get a little antsy as it's time for the bus to get there. I think based on whatever time I got there, I'm going to guess there was maybe, roughly there should have been about a 10-minute wait maybe. So I'm getting eager for the next bus to arrive. And then it seems like it's not there. I'm like, okay, well, these buses tend to sometimes be slow, and I know that it's kind of normal and almost expected for the buses to be like 5 minutes late. Yeah, I get it. Cool. But for some reason, I was a little jittery because that whole experience was kind of an unnerving thing. And so I started I was like, you know what? I've never done this before in my life, but I know I'm going to look like a weirdo doing it, and I just don't care. I'm going to start pacing back and forth. I actually told myself that. I actually made a conscious decision to pace back and forth. Now, granted, it was probably the distance that I was pacing back and forth was probably at least 150 feet or more. So it wasn't exactly the typical type of pacing you might be thinking about. But anyway, so I was just kind of just walking back and forth to try and kind of gather myself after all this shit. And then I started noticing that as I was doing it, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that. You're an athlete. You used to play sports. You used to train pretty hard. You used to be a pretty competitive athlete. And it's like, man, this is kind of like how you survive. Oh yeah, hey, it's weird. The more you're doing this, you're starting to get like into this fluid rhythm, and you feel good, and oh my gosh, your body wants to go quicker and faster. It was weird because I didn't even, unbeknownst to me, I just had kind of just warmed myself up, if you know what I mean. Like anyone who this conversation is aimed at knows what I mean. You know, you warm up a little bit, get loose, and then you do what you're going to do. Well, that was not what I was shooting for, but in an effort to just kind of like calm myself down and burn off a little tense energy, I had kind of just like quickly given myself about a 10-minute like warm up, and all of a sudden I just felt like it was almost as if when you warm up, if you had like a microwave timer that would just inherently tell your body when you were perfectly warm, and you'd hear a ding and you'd feel it and you're like, okay, I'm warm. That's what happened when I was doing this. It was like, that is exactly what happened, and it happened in such a textbook amount of time, probably no more than 10 to 12 minutes, and I was just like, it was just like, bing, and I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh yeah, I'm warmed up, I'm loose. So I was like, well, screw it, I'm going to go with this. I'll just keep pacing back and forth until the bus gets here. Okay, well, so pretty soon, the pace kind of starts to become a little bit of a trot, and then I'm getting into a full-on jog. So I'm like jogging back and forth, but not like in a runner's type of manner, more like in a boxer's type of manner. If you can imagine what I'm talking about, it's kind of floating across the area. You're just getting your footwork in, you know, just getting a little move on. And so I'm like, damn man, I'm getting in a groove. This feels good. And so I'm just like, wow, I'm in a groove. So I started doing this. I started like really like overemphasizing my movements and just really like taking big steps, big strides, really just really deliberate. And I'm just like, oh God, this feels good. And so then it just one thing leads to another, and before you know it, I'm taking each step, knee to chest, knee to chest, knee to chest, knee to chest, and I'm like, jeez, this is a good exercise. This feels good. This would take care of this. And I was like, and I just feel like empowered when I do it. Like, watch. I was just like, boom! And you just feel your kneecap make contact, boom, with your chest, and then you're just like, boom, boom! And it's just like, oh, you're just like, I'm ready. I'm ready for some battle. Alright, so you can see how things were starting to kind of turn for the better, I think, as far as my mood and all that. I know this is a really long story, but it's all relevant and it all makes sense, trust me. So, then, I'm feeling good and everything's, you know, where as it could, would, should, and needs to be in the hood. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. These buses are never, ever, 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 ever this late. They just aren't. Unless there's something wrong. So I'm like, okay, there's no way I like pulled like a Chris Leslie boner maneuver and somehow just allowed the bus to just drive right past me right as I was standing there. I'm like, I know that didn't happen. And I'm pretty sure that couldn't have happened. But well, you can never be totally sure. But I was relatively confident that didn't happen. So I'm like, okay, I'll call the bus people. So I called the bus people, and the lady, when I tell her where I'm at, the route and all that sort of thing, she kind of like responds as if I'm like kind of half out of my gourd, because she's like, well, no, I mean, she's like, usually if there's any sort of a problem, they let us know. Like why are you calling and bothering me? And then I was like, well, she's like, could you just have missed it? And I'm like, no, because she's like, that's only a time window. They can sometimes come earlier. And I'm like, listen, I was there well before 10 after. Bus was due to be there, I think, around 11:17. So I was there more than a good 7 minutes before it was supposed to be there. So she goes, okay, let me put you on hold. And so I'm on hold. I'm like on hold for kind of a long time. I don't know how long, but it was a pretty long time. And she comes back. She's like, yeah, it was 30 minutes late when it hit Scrotum Lake, which is a destination that's like just up the road from here. I mean, I wouldn't walk there, but if you're in a car, you'd get there probably in about 10 or 15 minutes at the most. So I'm like, oh no, you've got to be kidding me. Because at this point, I mean, I don't remember exactly what time it is, but I know that the next bus is supposed to be there at 11:47, and that doesn't cut it as far as me getting where I need to be on time at 12:20. So I'm getting a little tense about that, because I have no leeway at all when it comes to school right now. Well, just know that. So all of a sudden, I'm starting to just get all tense and bad, all that crap. And then there's like one student that I know in the class that I have exchanged numbers with simply because they were on the same bus I was once, and it was like, cool, somebody to talk to from that group of just dense and awful human beings. And I was going to text her, and I swear, I kid you not, the moment I had grabbed my phone and I didn't actually start pulling up her number, I was about to start searching for it. I get a pop. You know that little, my phone's on silent, so there's not an actual pop, but to me when you see a text hit as it hits, it reminds me of a little pop, and that's what I got. Just pop and text her, and it said, no class today, and this is exactly what I did. Those of you who are old enough to remember the old Toyota commercials, okay, I'm going to put this down while I do it. But there's something, I'm not going to try and replicate the Toyota thing, but I did this just naturally. As soon as she said it, or no, as soon as I read those words from her text, I was just like, yes! And but the yes was a lot more like high-pitched and feminine, and it wasn't intentional, it just came out that way, because I was just like a little kid, you know, like that. And so, that was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. From that point on, when I found out that there was no class today, I have just been the most jubilant, joyous, goofy, giddy, little chatty Cathy, whatever you want to call it, that I feel so, I feel like I've almost won the lotto. And I have 75 cents in my account right now. So, I am extremely happy. I'm in a great mood. And but no, that is not why I'm on the air right now. Actually, I didn't just get on the air to try and spread my good energy. Because, I mean, I don't really care about spreading my good energy to you that much. I mean, I want to provide you with an entertaining show, and I want you to like it, and I want to get to know you and all. But I'm not going to, like, oh, I'm in a good mood. I want to spread the happiness around. Nah, I'm just going to hoard some of the happiness for myself, if you don't mind. But then I kind of just started thinking about all these different things that are going to be happening and that are quickly emerging, taking shape with this program, the network. And I'm just like, wow, well, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get on there and start maybe kind of preparing the audience as far as what an idea of some of the things that might be headed this way, so that we can kind of gradually integrate and acclimate you to this. and set the stage for it so that once this stuff starts being boom, 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 it's not going to be like an overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with all this stuff that's happening, my head is about to fall off type thing. You know what I mean? So that is kind of the primary reason why I got on when I did, because we have a lot of work to do. And that pretty much is, even though it's a general statement, that is just probably the most apropos statement I could make at this point right now. Whether that applies to the CLX network, whether that applies to my life outside of the CLX network, whether that applies to any of our shows, our programming, the direction that we're taking this, all that stuff, of course, but as far as like immediacy is concerned, we have a fantasy football show to do today. Okay, that is like a primary thing, and of course that wasn't anything that was ever in doubt. I mean, as soon as we got back from class, we're going to get going on that. But the thing is that the fantasy show itself is becoming kind of something bigger and more, I'm having a hard time with the word to use to describe this, more substantive or all-encompassing, I don't know, than I've ever like thought it would be or intended it to be, and the priority level which it is starting to demand at this network is kind of staggering. Now, I'm not complaining about that at all, because that is definitely part of what's coming your way and things that we are definitely needing to talk about, of some very exciting things that are in store, and for the network, for the viewers, for the programming, for everything associated with this place from top to bottom, everything. It's great. But I just kind of am scratching my head at this point in time, because I'm just like, who would have thunk that all this of what, you know, kind of today just all kind of just came into a really perfect and beautiful focus to me as far as a direction for the network. Who thought that kind of the focal point? And I don't really think, oh, everything's going to be about fantasy football. That's not true. Anything as far as programming and all that, the wide variety and diverse, well-rounded programming, that is not changing at all. So maybe focal point may not be the right word, but the fact that fantasy football is the catalyst that is really the engine that is driving us in a rapid acceleration towards much bigger and better things is something that I never intended, never even contemplated, and it's like, wow, it's really cool though. I'm happy. I'm very happy, and it's also kind of one of those things where when you think about it and you're like, yeah, you know what, that actually makes a lot of sense. And you're like, good gosh, I had this just opportunity of a lifetime right under my nose, in front of my face this whole time, and I didn't have any idea. I just didn't even contemplate it. So it's one of those type of things. But that's cool. And so that means that in the effort for me to try and keep on point, on top of all these things that need to be done to kind of make sure we're ready to experience these changes and this growth and just transformations, all these things, we need to be where we need to be so that we're ready to take advantage of all these opportunities that will be coming our way. Because the thing is about opportunities, and I'm going to get a little cliche here, but they're not something, as you all know, that are just rapidly around all the time, and you're just like, gosh, okay, shush, get away, I've got enough opportunities, just leave me alone. Well, at least for me, I've never found them like that, and I think that there are a lot of people who share that view. So what that means is that I am not psychic, I don't claim to be, but when things are proceeding in a particular direction and are headed down a particular path, I'm very good at kind of realizing, understanding, and recognizing that a lot before others do. And that is exactly where we are right now. We're headed down a path that is going to be taking us smack dab into these opportunities. And that being said, because they are not abundant, we need to be ready for these opportunities as they come so that we can take advantage of them, because they're not opportunities that may ever come around again. So this is serious, critical importance. And so my job as founder of this network is to make sure that I get everything where it needs to be, so that when that time comes, we're there and we're ready to go on and just seize it. So that, with the programming, with the expansion, you get the gist. There's a lot of stuff to do. So I started thinking, wow, yeah, I got to get on there and start kind of doing a little prepping, and so why not broadcast? Plus, I'm just so happy. I'm in a good mood. I'm going to sing till my heart's content. And so I'm not going to get into like in-depth fantasy football stuff right now. I'm going to more or less just kind of guide you through what you needed to be guided through, so that you're in the best possible position you can be in to enjoy our fantasy football show, which is not called that anymore and will not be called that. It has a new name, and I'll explain a little bit about that. My job now is to put you in the best possible position so that you can enjoy and get the most out of our fantasy football program tonight, which that's what I'm going to do. So that needs to be done, but there are also preparation for that actual program that needs to be done, and then the actual operation that program is about. There are obviously things that need to be done there too. So yeah, just what I just mentioned is quite an extensive list. Well, you combine that with some of the other things, and it's like, yeah, you got to get a start on this before it gets a start on you. So anyways, that's what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to be kind of playing, like, giving you the inside look at how some things are done and what I'm doing and trying to do. And you're going to have a much better idea, I think, when this program is over, as to where the direction of this network and the channels and the talent and everything like that is going, and I think you'll feel pretty good about it. So I'm going to take a short break, and we're going to get ourselves situated, ready to kick ass and take names, and we will come back in just a few minutes. So get comfortable, get ready. I wouldn't be opposed to you getting a spiral notebook and maybe a pen. If you get yourself a little outline going so you can follow along and be ready to experience all this coolness that's going to be going this way, because you're going to love it and you're going to benefit from it too. So I'm Chris Leslie, and of course you are watching the Chris Leslie Show on the CALX network. So we'll clear that up when we come back. Thank you. All right. certainly hope that conversation wasn't on. But if it was, oh well. It's not that big of a deal. It's just, you know, nobody minds a little privacy from time to time. Privacy's never bad. Alright, so I want to, I'm going to take you through a process of planning and how, this isn't how, oh, this is the process for creating a broadcast. No, this is my process. And like with anything else, everyone has their own particular process that they use for solving problems and getting things done. And that is simply all that this is. Alright, report. What the hell is this? Huh? Oh, sorry. It's my tagline. It's like, looks really weird graphically. Because well, you know what I put. Okay, so, first things first. Let's deal with that recording. Remember that? That was our opening theme. That was a while ago. Believe me, I have no illusions as far as myself and James Brown sharing anything in common. Well, rather than maybe a kindred spirit. I'm sure we do. We probably have actually a lot in common, just not when it comes to talent. If you know what I mean. So actually, I think James Brown and I probably have had way more in common than most people would ever imagine or realize, and including myself. But excluding his talent as an entertainer and a performer, I do not mean in that way whatsoever. I mean more in just a way we do things in life. Okay. And I'm wearing this shirt, which it's one of those shirts where you get it, you first see it, and you're like, I'm not saying you guys like this shirt, but I loved it. I was just like, God, this shirt is so cool. I like this shirt. It's awesome. And then, but there's just one small little flaw. And it's not like I didn't notice it when I got the shirt. It's not like I didn't notice this stupid thing from the start. How can you not notice that? But it was one of those things where, oh, it's just minor. It's not even a big deal. It's just a small part of the shirt. I really like the shirt. This is shit. This is nothing. No, this is something. It's awful. But anyways, but I still am pretty happy I'm wearing this shirt because, you know what, even though I'm not digging this too much, and I never have, but I actually picked this out and saw this thing, and I'm like, this is so awful, and I hate it so much that I gotta wear it to class, and I gotta show it off. So, yeah, I don't know, I think we're in this just weird, like, lemon to lemonade type of thing, and the one thing I will say, and this kind of goes along with my ability to kind of feel the trends, the month of November, in general, is, based on what I've seen and experienced in just these short few days, seems to be just bursting with activity, excitement, and a lot of cool and interesting things on the horizon. And I say that both in the sense for the CALX network and what we're pertaining to here, but I also say that in a broader, grander scope of things. I don't know, you can just tell there's something special is kind of just on the horizon. I have no idea what it is. Okay, I will be perfectly clear on that. I have no clue, but I can tell there's a buzz, there's an excitement, there's something brewing, and I don't know exactly what that is, but something cool, something real cool is going to happen real soon. I can feel it. Anyways, enough of my tarot card reading. No, but so that's kind of the thing. So I think that we all have reason just to be excited and optimistic and in a good mood. It's almost as if I feel like it's spring, even though it's the furthest thing from that. But I'll take it, trust me. So anyways, where was I going with that and why? Oh, that's just give you an idea as how I see things moving and the direction I see things headed. Okay, now, before we took a break, I did address the point of the show. The name of our fantasy football show I mentioned would not be the same. It would be will be changing effective immediately, and will not change ever again. Okay? So, the new name of our show is simply, and once you hear it, I think you're gonna agree with me, Football Mania. Okay? That's the name of our league. Well, why wouldn't you name the show Football Mania? It's your league. Of course you're going to name it Football Mania. It's about your league. That's the heart and the soul and everything it is Football Mania. Not to mention that is just a cool ass name. And I started actually, it's some of the things that we're going to discuss and be working on really kind of forced me to look at our league and just what we have here in kind of a way that I never had before. And it's like, holy smokes, I've realized some things, and it's like, they're great things, but they're things that I was completely oblivious to. And what that is essentially that we have the most exciting and the best fantasy football league anywhere. And I'm not saying that as some sort of hype or promotion, but I guarantee you that. I know that for a fact. Because, for one, just simply the level of competitiveness in our fantasy football league. Statistically, it is impossible that there is a better fantasy football league out there. Just on that basis. The amount of money that's at stake in our particular league is a lot of money for fantasy football. Now, I'm sure, I have no doubt that there are leagues out there that have more money at stake than ours, but we also just have a unique cast of characters that you could never get anywhere else, and you could not cast. You could not dig these people up from anywhere, ever. Never. You just couldn't. It would be impossible. It's beautiful. So, what we have, essentially, is something just extremely special, and with limitless potential. And I'm an idea guy, and my head is getting a little bit sore, because I have ideas firing off in it non-stop, like frickin' rockets. That's a good thing, don't worry. But yeah, and so you're getting a sense. I've probably given more away than I should have as far as like the fantasy football league is concerned, but it is definitely going to be on a rapid ramp upwards. And so part of there are some of the things that are the most exciting as far as the magnitude. I'm not really in a position to be able to talk too much at length about. I needed to use, it is essential and imperative that I exercise the proper level of discretion when addressing any of those sorts of issues. But things that I can talk to you about, such as like our name change and some of the things that have been happening within the league, and so that, perfectly fine. And so that in itself is going to be a joy. I mean, look at this stupid smile. I cannot take this stupid smile off my face. I don't like it when I smile. I mean, okay, I don't want it to sound weird. I like smiling, but I do not like the way I look when I smile, because I have a fake cheesy coat hanger looking smile, and it looks weird. It scares people. But this smile will not leave my face, and I don't want it to. It's just, it's awesome. So anyways, okay, we covered the Football Mania and all that. I'm not going to get into something I learned just actually today about the league, or the name and its origins and the history behind it, that I had no idea. Ever. I never had any clue about it, and it's pretty awesome. We will tell you that later this evening, so I'm not going to spoil that at all. But what I will tell you is that when I first started the fantasy football show, I did not do it primarily for the guys in my league. I actually did it for the CALX network, because I thought, wow, this is something that will be of interest programming wise for our network, because fantasy football is pretty popular, and I know that just the impact it had on me as far as I was what you would describe as one of those purist, quote-unquote, football fans that just was so into football and just thought that fantasy football was blasphemy to something sacred. That's how I felt. No kidding. I ridiculed, I mocked people who played fantasy football as if it was dirty hypodermic needles filled with heroin in an elementary school. And then, for some reason, I'm not a heroin user, but we're using another heroin analogy, is I let that buddy of mine shoot me up that one time with that fantasy football. I joined the league simply because I was so ignorant as far as about fantasy football that I wholeheartedly believed that because I had such a in-depth grasp and knowledge and insight to football, which I still possess, that anyone in his fantasy league, regardless of who they were, was just going to get smashed by me, and they all were, and I was just going to go in there and just conquer that whole league and win their money and show them who is the dominant voice of football. That was honestly my belief. As much as I believe that there's food in this dish, I believe it more than that, and I'm looking at this right now. Well, anyone some of you who are watching right now are probably laughing right now, because if you play fantasy football, because you know that I was taught otherwise during my first year of fantasy football. I learned that that was not going to happen or be the case. And I remember that this is only my second year, and so I think this may have been shortly before our draft. There was the friend of mine who is our commissioner. It was his birthday, and there was the guy who's our now our two-time defending champion was there, and I remember I found him to be so smug, and I just wanted to wipe that smugness off of his face, because he was like, oh, well, yeah, dude, fantasy football is not as easy as you think. He's like, you're going to lose your first year. It just happens. Everybody loses their first year. And I was like, yeah, shut up. I just was like, yeah, you're going to see. But he was right. And he was also a champ. God, I just spit on me. Anyways, now I know what that gleeking nickname was about. Another story altogether. But he wound up being the champion of the league that year. So he was absolutely right. As a matter of fact, everything I knew about football that gave me an insight to football hurt me as far as fantasy football is concerned, initially, because it prevented me from understanding the nuances of fantasy football and how they work and how they operate and the things that dictate what is important and what's not. Anyways, I'm not going to get too much into that. But, so, I've learned over the last couple of years, just how crazy this is, and it's so fun and exciting. It is a rush. It is like a rush and a high and everything. So I got addicted to it, and but now